Dad is dead. There is a dog.
You bought strawberries. Who do you think you are?
Did you buy homemade bread?
What are you, QAnon?
What makes him happy?
Not being in this movie?
Not being in this movie.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark channel and try to make sense of them. I am Les Kirkendall-Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall-Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall-Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
I was rushing to put all of my electronics on Do Not Disturb.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I guess I should do that too. I'll turn off the smoke alarm. Let's yank that battery right out. All right, we're ready.
Les? Oh, no.
Yeah?
Right as you were talking about turning off electronics, it was silent. We thought we lost you there.
Oh, no, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm glad.
This was a Hallmark week.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
And I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
you guys know me well enough to know, I'm a sucker for a makeover movie. But there's another genre. I'm a sucker for a girl hits her head and travels back in time movie.
I didn't know that was really a genre.
It is.
I guess it kind of is, yeah.
Well, and I guess it could be a girl or a guy that goes back in time, to high school. Like, remember the one that we saw about the Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the gold standard of time travel teenage movies. Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's true. Or 13 going on 30. Okay, yeah, okay, now I see it.
13 going on 30.
Now I see it as a genre. And the thing is, I like all of those movies. So I think I like the genre too, because I'm going to make a strong statement out of the gate, Kurt, unless you wanted to say something.
I wanted to say a cast member of the show has made a strong statement.
Yes.
I wanted to say
I messaged the guys, wait, let me read exactly what I wrote. I wrote...
Okay.
I actually truly love this movie so far. It's possibly the best Hallmark movie I've ever seen. And now that I've finished the movie, I'm here to say, before we even get into it, that this is hands down the best Hallmark movie I have ever watched.
Oh, that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I was planning an announcement.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And I was going to say that, and this is true, in the history of doing the show, this is the best Hallmark movie I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I loved so much about this movie. Even if this movie weren't on Hallmark, I would have liked it. I really would have liked it. So even take that lens off of it, it was really well done.
It's almost at the level of exactly as you said. That if it was a real movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, I have a 3-way tie.
Yes.
Okay.
I do have some issues with the movie as usual, but
because I have a 3-way tie because of course I love Shopaholics Christmas, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I loved the one with Fran Drescher and her date.
That was Lifetime. That was Lifetime.
That doesn't count. That's Lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this one ties with Shopaholics Christmas. For my favorite Hallmark.
And they both have, and the merry-go-round time travel one, which was also Hallmark, they all have an element of magic, which is really interesting. Right. Because Hallmark's trying to be sort of the gold standard of this is what American life looks like almost. And the fact that the best movies are the ones that sort of get away from that a little bit are the ones that I like.
Well, there are a lot of things about this movie, and if I was going to criticize it, I would say it is derivative. Like, it is Peggy Sue got married a little bit, a little Back to the Future. So it's not necessarily but here's the main thing I think I like about the movie. There are a lot of things I like about it. Is that this movie is primarily about a failed relationship, and she's just trying to pick up the pieces of this failed relationship, which I thought is kind of a brave move. I haven't seen that in a Hallmark movie.
As a matter of fact, I think this is our first couple that we have had in the middle of a divorce.
Not a divorce.
For the whole movie. Well, not a divorce, no, but it's
but certainly like marital strain that they acknowledge as being marital strain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love it, and I can't wait to talk about it. But before we talk about it, Kurt, do you have any Blac Chyna news?
China.
I'm talking China.
Blac Chyna report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Okay, this is from the website hotnewhiphop.com. I think they got their information, which I read from my news every morning. And I think they got this from TMZ. That the headline is Blac Chyna screams at fan in Miami airport, "Go get fucking vaccinated." Entertainer Blac Chyna lost her temper this weekend, completely blowing her top at the Miami airport and berating a fan who reportedly asked to take a picture with her. The reality television star went on a very animated pro-vax rant, yelling at a fan who got close to her that she should go get fucking vaccinated before going off about her Washington, D.C. roots. The blue-haired celebrity was at the airport with her team when somebody holding a baby reportedly approached her and asked for a picture. Chyna allegedly started a rant about how the woman needed to be vaccinated before yelling across the busy terminal, berating the woman and saying, "Stop being stupid, ho!" The mother of two is vaccinated, receiving the first of her 2 shots on Instagram Live earlier this year. According to TMZ, the police were not called regarding Blac Chyna's public freakout at the Miami airport. Chyna has not addressed the video yet. Last month, BC previously gave her opinion about Kanye West and the Kim Kardashian splitting up, Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian's tricky relationship, and more. Now we know exactly where she stands on the topic of anti-vaxxers, seemingly refusing to let anybody who's unvaccinated near her. And here's a little sound bite of her. Let me see if we can hear. Okay. You hear? That's Blac Chyna.
I can't really hear what's going on there.
Oh, you can't.
I can't.
Okay, I'll get rid of it.
What was she screaming?
It's like somebody was like getting a phone,
video of her like
and then
flipping out about the
unvaccinated. Fucking vaccinated. Yeah, she's screaming and yelling.
Wow.
Well,
she's a publicity machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, she's not wrong.
No, I'm getting my second shot tomorrow.
Yay!
She's not wrong at all.
I had to wait a little while, but yeah.
As a matter of fact,
I love that they referred to her as blue-haired because it makes me think of old people.
right?
Because you always talk about the old ladies, their hair sort of starts turning blue. It made me think of that.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
I think she should come out with T-shirts. I would wear a T-shirt that says "Get vaccinated, ho."
Yeah, get vaccinated, you hoe.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Oh yeah, she is back. She was out of the news for a while. Now everywhere she's going, she's just screaming and yelling.
That was a good story.
But she's back with the band.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
so
yelling
excited.
for good reason.
I wonder how she knew the woman wasn't vaccinated. Guess.
Well, knowing Blac Chyna, she probably asked her.
What?
Yeah.
Where was this at?
Maybe.
Just like randomly on the street, or was it at an event?
No,
of some sort?
this is at the Miami airport.
At the airport. Well, so there was
Yeah.
probably some woman that was like, getting mad about being asked about it before she was getting on the flight or something.
Oh, okay.
Or I could see the woman going, "Hey, Blac Chyna, can I take a picture with you?" And then Blac Chyna saying, "Are you vaccinated?" And then she would say no. And then Blac Chyna's like, "Don't be stupid, you hoe." I could see.
She regretted that.
Yes.
Yeah. Blac Chyna's right. We're team
She's
Blac
totally
Chyna.
right. Oh, now did you want to mention the Masked Singer? How we know people on the Masked Singer?
No, we know people on Alter Ego.
Oh,
Wait, you know people on the Masked Singer?
no, Alter Ego. You sent me a text about like
What is alter
that
ego? I don't know what
box.
that is.
Okay, our friend Chase Paget is competing on a television program called Alter Ego that was on after the Masked Singer. So in Alter Ego, what they do is the singers are backstage and an avatar of them.
Oh, okay, the
goes
Avatar
on
one.
stage,
Got
yeah.
it. I
So
did
he's
know
on the
of the
show.
existence of the show. So who do you know?
Chase Paget.
Chase Paget, and his avatar's name is Orlando something. First name is Orlando, and the avatar, and he's made it to the next round. I thought he was gonna get cut because I watched. He was on last Wednesday, and it looked like because the audience chose the two ladies, and then it was like him and this other guy. So I thought, oh, he's gonna get cut, but he did not get cut. He's still going.
Now does the avatar do like moves and dances and stuff?
Yeah, his avatar did a moonwalk, but I'm not clear on how much because the people are backstage. They're in like some kind of outfit. They're connected to all these electronic things, and I don't know how much. I'm not sure how much of their movement reflects the avatar or not. Like,
is it like, like they have like remember did you ever see the Planet of the Apes where the one guy who played the monkey, Caesar, it was like actually a guy and they had like all these
it's called motion capture. Yeah, it's almost certainly motion capture for how they do the avatar. Okay. So they're probably backstage. Like if you've ever seen backstage footage of a movie where they're doing this, it's like it's a green screen and the actor's also completely covered in green and they've got like little dots on it that can communicate with the computer. Yeah.
The other thing I want to know, maybe you guys can answer this. I was wondering if the judges are it's will.i.am, I think he's the producer of the show, Alanis Morissette. We didn't recognize it first because she's blonde now. Wait, Alanis Morissette?
Yeah, she's blonde now because I saw her in concert last week.
Yeah, and I forget who else is. I think Grimes is one of the.
Wait, as in Elon Musk's
Grimes.
Ex? Yeah,
that's Grimes.
Well, she's the money now.
Yeah. I don't think she does.
So
they have a baby together.
She had a kid with him. But what I want to know is, can the judges in the audience do they actually see this avatar creature in front of them, or are they watching this?
Good question.
I want to know that. And I want to ask because there's like some threads on Facebook with that Chase, but I don't want to say, hey Chase, I like your performance, but just a technical question. But I don't know.
I think that's a fair thing to ask, and not as and probably not a super common question either. You'd probably be happy to answer that.
I'm really curious.
Now is there a Simon Cowell, like a mean judge?
No, I don't think so. I think there are 4 judges. I can't remember who the other one is.
Okay,
and they watch. Yeah.
But in all these shows, you need a mean judge.
No, the show I saw, because I watched that one episode, and I don't think anybody was mean. Everybody who performed was very good. Their avatars are good. Their singing is good. Do you think it's easier on these singing competitions? Do you think it's easier for a woman because just as a woman singer, it's more impressive to be a female singer than a male singer?
If it's one of these that have to do with the nation voting, I could see that.
But I'm not sure I understand the theory here.
I think that I just developed a theory very late in the game. But I'm just watching these competition shows. I thought, I think it might be more impressive to hear a woman's voice, an impressive woman's voice, than a man's voice, just because of the range.
Oh, because like when a woman is smaller in stature and they can kind of belt, it's surprising. Or
I think it's just the voice. I don't know. I don't know why I think this. But when I watched that show, The Alter Ego, they were more impressed with the women singing. I noticed, and
I would imagine any kind of surprise that you get out of a judge on any of these kinds of shows often comes from the voice not matching your perception when they walk in the room. And, it's like, think of Susan Boyle, for instance. Like, she looks like this very bookish woman. You don't expect her to have that voice. And then she sings and they're all blown away. And I would think that you can really manipulate that and play with that if you've got an avatar there. You could change the look of the avatar to look completely unlike the voice, and that's really going to surprise him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they do on this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
This is something I was thinking about. I was just thinking, just the female voice might have more potential being more impressive. But
maybe I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
I will not.
Maybe I'll give.
You will not take a look at it. I wouldn't watch it either.
I don't like reality shows.
I watched it because he was on it, but it's pretty good. It got some horrible review somewhere.
Really?
But it's not bad. I think it's
What did they say?
That's a
what
glowing
was it?
review when you're like, it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's fine. This review said it was like the worst show of all time, and I don't. Chase, our friend Chase, posted this. So he the only reason I saw this thing, I don't remember where it was posted, but it was just ripping the show apart. But no, that show with Monica Lewinsky years ago, that was one of the worst shows. And Tucker Carlson, that's the worst show on television.
What show is that? Why do I not remember that? Because that sounds like an amazing piece of pop culture that's terrible.
Oh, there was a show with Monica Lewinsky where it was this guy. There was a woman who she was very shallow and she only wanted to be with handsome men. So they get all these guys together and they wear these masks like this. They all wear a mask. And then Monica Lewinsky, I don't even think she was the host. She was she was just sort of like
Was that
standing
the
next to
same
the host.
show that Lorenzo Lamas was on and would have a pointer and they would like point
No,
out
that's a
the
different
women's
show.
Okay, but same
That's a
kind of
different
thing,
show,
right?
Yeah.
Because was it more like that show with Chrissy Teigen where they got a group of good-looking people, and this is to see if they were like a good person or not, and so like they would like set them up, like they'd have like an old man come and ask them for money, but it would really be an actor, or they'd have like an overweight woman, and they'd see if they were nice to her or not, and that was an actor, and then when the person got voted out, Chrissy Teigen would say, "Okay, this is actually a test to see if you're a good person. You're not."
I mean, just us describing these shows, whether they're or not, they are accurate descriptions, is why I truly don't like reality shows. It just seems like humanity not being self-aware.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember The Swan?
Yeah.
I think so. I don't think I ever watched
Okay, so The Swan was they would take like an unattractive woman, right? And they would literally give her a Frankenstein makeover. They would make over, like they would give her the full works and like a full body lift and a new nose and a new face and everything. And then they would always put her on Nutrisystem. And then you weren't allowed, she wasn't allowed to look at herself until she got on stage.
Oh, and what did she do when she got on stage? Just
they'd always go, and then they'd always go, "I'm beautiful," and cry.
No, I've missed that one.
And then there were. Oh, go ahead.
I think there were men on the Swan. Oh no, that was called Joe Handsome or something.
You're thinking of Joe Millionaire.
Opposite version.
There was a Joe Millionaire.
No, there was another one called something Joe Handsome or something where they would take like ugly guys and then like give them Frankenstein makeovers as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know which show you're talking about because I know two guys that were on it and I can't think of what it was.
How flattering.
You do?
I do. Yeah.
I
used to do improv with both of them in the same group, and they were on different seasons, but they were on that show. I think it was called Regular Joe, maybe.
Yeah,
Ordinary Joe.
Average Joe.
Yeah.
Average Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
Average Joe.
What network was?
I believe Average Joe was on
garbage.
NBC, but most of this kind of stuff it was on Fox.
ABC? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There was Lee and Fox.
Yeah, Fox had Joe Millionaire, where they tricked all the girls into thinking they were vying for the affection of a millionaire who wasn't, and that was huge.
Shamefully.
And then there was Married by America, where America got to vote on what couple she got.
Darva Conger. I remember that.
I know the host of that show, Valentine.
What?
I used to work with him.
Wasn't it?
On Kiss FM?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, wasn't it? What was that guy's name? The guy who used to. He was a radio guy, and he was Carla's husband on Cheers. Rick. No, not Rick Dees.
No, the other one. I used to listen to the show.
He passed away recently, or a couple years ago.
He passed away.
He died.
Jay Thomas.
I can't remember his name.
God.
Jay Thomas.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Jay Thomas.
Jay
Here in
Thomas.
LA,
Yeah.
he used to be on Power 106, which is insane to think
Jay
about
Thomas.
now.
Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the host?
Yeah,
of that
he died a long time. He died a long time ago.
Yeah, I guess he did. Not I don't know, 5 years ago. But wasn't he the host of that millionaire marrying the millionaire show?
Married by a Millionaire was hosted by Valentine, who I worked with at Kiss FM. He's now on My FM here in LA.
Oh, I thought he hosted that other show. Okay, maybe there were a couple shows with similar themes.
Right.
I think.
Oh, and the Swan, this woman, like, she looked at herself, and so she got disqualified because she looked at herself.
Okay, let's just, because I honestly was coming into this podcast in a very, very happy mood because I watched this movie that I really liked, and now I just feel sick about America.
Well, okay,
Yeah, that's bad news. All three good.
All right.
And our friend Susan was on CBS News, so that was exciting.
Who?
You didn't see that?
No.
Les?
Who's on CBS News?
I guess I gotta say her name. Susan was on CBS News. Susan Thompson Gaines, our friend. She does like.
Oh wait, why was Susan?
kindness.
Oh my God, why was Susan on TV? Oh, really? For her little house, her little
Yeah, because she does.
like a food bank.
She does kindness yard sales every year, and then she takes all the proceeds. She does these
Nice.
acts of kindness all year round. She does all sorts of great
Yes.
stuff. So CBS News profiled her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
I need to watch that and message her.
Oh yeah,
Oh, good for Susan.
she's all the rage. We should have her on the show now that she's
We
a celebrity.
should. We should.
Yeah,
Actually, Susan is funny.
Oh yeah, Susan's great.
Anyway, let's talk about this movie.
Let's get to it.
Love Strikes Twice. So we start out. We're in Chicago. And then, okay, so these past few Hallmark movies that we watched have been kind of right? Because they haven't been following, the Hallmark tropes. And so I was happy to see that our heroine was very busy.
Out of the gate.
Very busy.
So-
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, good. She's very busy. This means that we're good so far.
The actress, by the way, that was the star of this movie, Katie Finlay. I was trying to, for like 3/4 of the movie, I was trying to figure out why does she look so familiar. If you watched How to Get Away with Murder, she played Rebecca in season 1.
Oh,
I
did
didn't
she?
realize that. Yeah,
That woman.
Her hair was longer, right?
yeah.
And How to Get Away with Murder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that woman. Call the police. She stole my heart.
Yeah, she was great.
Oh.
She was fantastic.
So
She's got
our heroine was so busy. As a matter of fact, she tried to cook breakfast and the pan caught on fire.
In this scene,
Yep.
I thought at first that she was talking and they forgot to dub in the other voice that was on the phone with her. But then, like, because her hair was covering the fact that she was wearing AirPods in her ears, so it looked like she was just talking to nobody.
And then her poor husband, she like starts ordering him around too.
He had to cancel his tutoring. Some child is now going to get an F because he's got to go pick up a silver tray for the parents' anniversary party.
And she wasn't like, Josh, would you please cancel? She was like, cancel it. You got to go pick up my stuff.
Which is
And
bullshit,
so
because
then,
she could have easily had like a messenger pick it up.
Right.
Yeah, they had money.
Postmates even.
Yeah, you do that thing where you order an Uber and then somebody just hands it off to the driver.
Yeah, Postmates. You can do DoorDash and pick up shit.
Oh, yeah?
And so, yeah.
There's options.
So then she shows up for work early, and then she tells her boss, well, I showed up for work early, but I'm going to be leaving early, and I'm going to be taking work with me. And so the boss was like, he looked pretty smarmy, but he was like, oh, you keep this up, you're going to get a junior partner spot. And then he was even like, when he found out how much of a workaholic she was, he was like, call me Mal, call me by my first name.
This guy probably gets acting work just based on the fact he's so similar to Steve Buscemi. He like looks like him.
He's like a
Sounds
more
like him.
handsome Steve Buscemi, but he definitely had Steve's eyes.
Right. So then her friend Carrie stops by, and have we seen her before? Have we seen Carrie before?
I think so. Probably in one of the Hallmark movies as like, a side character.
but she's like some kind of designer or something because she was signing a contract. That's why they were best friends, but she was there signing a contract as well.
Yeah. She designs like
And
swimsuits. And we find out that they've been friends like since high school or whatever.
Right. So then, they're getting ready for the parents' 40th anniversary party. Then and then basically Maggie's just focused on how much of a shark she has to be at work. Like she's going to be a barracuda, she says. And so, and then Carrie, though, is like, well, guess who I ran into? Rick Rubin?
Rick something.
Oh, Rick
Rubin.
Morgan. Morgan.
Yeah, Rick Rubin's a famous producer.
I ran into Rick Morgan.
Rick Rubin's got that giant beard. That'd be kind of cool if he was the love interest.
Was this the scene where they were in the car talking?
This was after.
Okay.
I ran into Rick Ross, who used to date for years. No, that's another good one.
But no, the car scene was afterwards, though.
Oh, okay. Just because I've noticed a new Hallmark trope emerging, and I'm kind of here for it, and that is the terrible green screen car scene. We've been getting a lot of those lately.
Yeah. Well, they kind of got all Hallmark tropes out of the way in the beginning for this movie.
Right. Because then the friend is like, I ran into your ex-boyfriend, da-da-da-da-da. He has his own plane, right? And
I think what they may have done, I think what they may have done is because they get all the Hallmark tropes, it's top heavy with Hallmark tropes, and then the movie gets more interesting. So they may have just written this script and handed it in, knowing that they were going to read like the first 15 pages.
Right,
maybe.
And get it all out of the way early.
Well, I don't remember the writers' names, unfortunately, but I did notice that there was two people were credited with story by, and one person was credited with teleplay, which means the story by people are the ones that sold the idea, but teleplay was brought in to rewrite the script and form it into a proper script.
So then Maggie is walking down the hall, and then she bumps into Rick, her ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very handsome. And he's like, kind of looks her up and down. And they talk, and he invites her like, hey, let's get together for lunch sometime. Wink, wink. I'm in town in 3 weeks. He's like, I'm in town in 3 weeks.
It's a dangerous thing.
Yep. And then so now we're in the part where the husband's reading the book in the car.
Yeah.
And so... But she's very dismissive he's a teacher, and she's very dismissive of the fact that he's a teacher.
Kind of, yeah. It's a very well done scene, I think. It really does show tension, I felt, between a couple without kind of hitting us over the head with it.
Right. And then we find out that the town... their town basically started going to shit when their old library closed. And then he tells Maggie that you only started dating me because you felt sorry for me anyway, which that's not a good way to start a relationship.
No.
I don't think.
That was a weird thing to hear in a Hallmark movie. Because we so rarely examine a relationship that is having problems in a Hallmark movie. Much less one where, like, one person feels like they're resented by the other.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I felt this was also the very first time I saw a Hallmark movie where I actually could relate to the male lead. I mean, the guy is kind of vulnerable. He's just sort of like, I love the idea. I would be totally up for saving a library.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question. Okay, so, in the beginning, they look 37, and then when she goes back in time, they're like supposed to be 22. How old do you think these two actors were really?
Katie Finley, I looked it up. She's 31. And I actually like that they did that with the casting, because I hate when they've got someone really young and they do old person makeup. I hate when they do someone old and they do young person makeup. I feel like the way to cast this is split the difference.
Right.
I hate to be mean, but it was like the early 90s, I think it was, where they decided Hollywood decided they're going to put people in old age makeup, and it just looked ridiculous. And the most egregious example, I think I'm using egregious correctly, is that Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal, where the whole movie, he's in this ridiculous, and they're doing a musical. Facebook's been advertising this to me. They're trying to make a musical of Mr. Saturday Night. It's like a Broadway version. Well, that might work. But it just reminds us how ridiculous that movie was.
So they get to her house. They get to Maggie's house, and her mom looks kind of forlorn.
Oh yeah,
her dad's a wreck.
In bad shape.
Yeah,
the dad's hobbling down the stairs with a cane. I don't know how he got up the stairs.
Yeah,
I should keep him away. From
I was
stairs.
legit worried that he was gonna fall.
Yeah, these people. I was like, these parents are in rough shape.
The brother's a mess.
Yeah, this is actually really nice.
Brother too.
They set this up very nice, and this is very Back to the Future in that they sort of show people at their worst, or in a much poorer version of their lives than they probably wanted it to become, and then we get to back up in time and see how that could all change.
Yeah.
So and then we find out that the dad had torn his spinal cord because he fell off of a ladder.
Yeah.
Like an old ladder.
Yeah. That's right.
The brother, by the way, was really hot. I was way into the brother.
He really was.
Yeah.
Once he,
I like the brother a lot, and I don't remember seeing a character like that. Maybe I missed it, but I could kind of relate to him too, because he was kind of like a shy, awkward kind of guy. I don't know. We haven't seen these kind of characters before. Usually in these movies, everybody has it on the ball.
Yeah, and like everyone, works at the local cafe, and they don't really, place an emphasis on smarts other than just like, vaguely saying that people are smart. We get to actually see people being smart in this movie.
Yeah. And real characters. So like, such stronger characters than I've seen in other movies. Good job.
So then, they catch up with the parents and stuff, and then Josh and Maggie end up getting into a fight.
Yeah.
And
he says he wonders if he and Maggie should have even gotten married in the first place. Wow.
Right.
Man,
those are like pretty much like the death.
And that's kind of like, and then she's like, and I've had moments like this. It's just horrible, where you don't really know where to go. And she's like, should I sleep in my old room, or what? Like, what should I do now?
Yep. And he's like, yeah.
They should make more movies with horrible experiences so I can relate to them.
Because that was the thing when she asked, should I sleep in my own room? He's like, yes, you should.
No, he leaves it up to her. He's like, whatever you think.
Well, that's a yes.
I guess it is. Oh, it is? Oh, geez.
Yeah. What do you think?
I went the wrong way.
Yeah, no, that's a.
I don't see that as a yes. I see that as a test. That's a test. Like, oh, don't you dare put this on me. You just ask the question. You make up your mind for yourself.
Oh, well, yeah, and this looking at this as a real life situation. Yeah, good luck trying to figure out the right thing to do. It's a real pain in the ass. Anyway.
Well, she was very upset, so she went out for a walk to get some air, clear her head, and so then she's walking, she's upset, and then she goes to a fountain, and she takes off her wedding ring, and she's like, I wish I had a do-over, and it's just like, fuck it, and throws her wedding ring into the fountain. And then she drops her phone, she bends down to get her phone, and she hits her head. And she wakes up, and she's in her bedroom, because remember, she was banished to the bedroom last night, to her room. And she wakes up, but there's a flip phone next to her, and she's like, what the fuck?
She also has a different hairstyle.
Yeah.
I have trouble waking up in a different year. I hate to give it away, because if I woke up next to a Discman, I mean, that would just be 2021 for me.
What's currently playing in
And
your
then she-
Discman, Kurt?
Yeah, what is
Ace of Base. Although I've heard some bad things about Ace of Base. I don't think I can listen to them anymore.
Why? Did they lie
I
about
heard
seeing the
something
sign? Because it
bad.
opened up their eyes, as I understand it.
Is that Look, I saw the sign. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard. I gotta look into it. I have to call their, call them and see what's happening over there.
Okay.
Somebody said something. I gotta get to the root of the issue.
Yeah, I think what we want to know is all that she wants. We would like to know that.
All that she wants.
is it the baby?
I saw the sign.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
And I opened up my eyes. Anyway, she goes downstairs to the kitchen.
Right.
She goes downstairs to the kitchen and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, you look great." And her mom did look great. Her
Mom,
mom
you
had
don't
like
look-
a pep in her step.
Mom, you don't look like trash anymore. This is fantastic.
You know, the mom had like a pep in her step. She was happy. Then the dad comes jogging in, like, "Hey."
Yeah. He starts sucking from the sink.
Yeah.
Right.
He had like gone for a run and he's like just drinking out of the sink like it's a water fountain.
He loves it. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Why dirty a glass with water?
And then she's looking around and she's like, "Oh my God, I've gone back in time."
Yeah. And she has a flip
And-
phone too, by the way.
Yes.
You get
And
a lot
then
of
the flip phone
comedic use
rings.
out of the flip phone in this movie.
Wait, and I totally forgot, by the way, that when you texted, texting was a whole production.
Oh yeah.
I never used to do it. I never did it.
I
It was
hated it.
such a pain in the ass. My
Texting was
thumbs are
such
too
a
big. I
production.
can't text with my thumbs. My thumbs are too large.
And then you'd have to hit the number like A, B, C,
Yeah, 3 times,
like,
yeah.
And then
the whole
overshoot
thing.
it sometimes.
Yep. So then anyway, the phone rings. It's Carrie, her best friend, who's very excited about everything.
Mhm.
Then we hear like a horn honking, and her mom's like, "It's your boyfriend. It's Rick." And it was Rick Morgan in a flashy red sports car. And so
It was Rick Rubin.
It's Rick Rubin. He just
was-
produced License to Ill.
It was Rick
Rubin's
Astley.
there.
Wait a minute. You know why Rick Rubin was in my mind? Did you ever see that show on Hulu called Dave?
I know of it, but I've
No.
never seen it.
Dave.
There was one episode where Dave met up with Rick Rubin.
Okay. Rick Rubin's here. He just produced Johnny Cash's album. Now he's going to take it to the beach.
Now he's filming a romantic comedy.
That's right. He's a Renaissance man.
Oh, so
He directed that awful.
So-
Sorry, I know. Just,
No, what?
just one more
What?
thing. He directed that Run DMC movie, Tougher Than Leather. It's terrible. I love Run
Oh.
DMC, but it was a bad movie.
weren't they in Disorderlies?
No,
I know
that's
that was the Fat Boys.
The Fat
That's
Boys, yeah.
I've seen that too. That was them and Ralph Bellamy. The
Gosh.
actor Ralph Bellamy work with them, and it was like Ralph Bellamy's 100th movie.
Right.
And I
Whoa.
liked it.
Gee, your 100th movie is with the Fat
The
Boys.
Fat Boys. Yeah,
You remember them?
Yeah.
yeah of
did
course. I
Wipeout.
saw that movie. I kind of enjoyed it. There was a review. Well, I don't know if it's. There's a reviewer who may have been not politically correct at the time. They said they should have used subtitles because he couldn't understand what the Fat Boys were saying.
Oh.
That wouldn't go over well today.
No.
Yeah, he'd be canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is where they use a little Hallmark trope here though, because her mom's like, "Hey, you're going to the beach. You're gonna have a good time, and that's all you're gonna do all day is just go to the beach and have fun." And so she grabs her bag, she gets in the car, and Rick keeps on trying to kiss her, and she's like, "No."
She's like, "Oh no!" I like the way she handled it. She just says, "Oh no, not today. No, not no."
I loved that because it was a nod to that Hallmark rule of like if somebody in a couple is with somebody else, they won't kiss a new person. And technically, even though we're in the younger timeline, technically Maggie is married to Josh, so she'd be cheating on Josh if she kissed Rick, even though
Yeah.
in the younger timeline she's dating Rick.
Right.
Yeah. I liked Rick also.
Is it cheating if you're in the past, though?
I don't think it is.
That's the excuse I always use.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm a time traveler. I'm only having sex with this person because we're in a different timeline than you.
You know, it never works. I thought I was dreaming at the time. I thought I was just going to wake, and I thought that's the only way it was going to wake me up. That doesn't work. No, I've never done that. But I kind of like Rick, but we'll get to that.
So then, they go by her favorite diner.
Oh yeah, she eats a lot. She eats a lot of
flamingos.
Pie.
Yeah. Oh, so sure, Kurt, I'm sure you like that.
I told you, I'd like to make her my woman. She's got everything going on. She's quirky. She likes pie. We could just stop there.
Well, I like that in this car ride with that green screen with Josh. They're talking, and he asks if she's still mad at him for something he said. I don't remember what they kind of hint at it, but they never really say it. And then he's like, and he says to her, "Can we have a do-over?" And that's when the light bulb comes on for her that, like, oh my God, I'm definitely getting my do-over that I wished for.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then we find out that Rick has a dad so someone mispronounced Vera Wang. I think it was Carrie.
The designer character is the one that mispronounced Vera Wang?
Who did it? Because somebody pronounced Ash, the actor played Ash, omniscient. What's the word?
What was the word, Kurt?
I'm going to say it wrong. I wrote ominous. Oh, ominous. He said.
Oh, ominous.
He said ominous at one point.
Ooh.
Anyway, minutia criticism here.
Well, so Maggie ends up going to the beach. She had fun. She says that she hadn't had fun like that in years. She let loose.
Speaking of very minutia criticism, this is so dumb and so small. But when they're at the lake and they show Maggie and Carrie in these pool floaties, they are watermelons. They didn't have pool floaties like that 15 years ago with all the, like, you know how now they have all these like super huge swans and everything's really colorful and looks like a watermelon. That wasn't a thing 15 years ago. That's a contemporary thing.
Oh.
Okay. Damn.
Their pool floaty prop supervisor should turn in his badge.
Wow.
So then she comes home and she sees her dad trying to climb the ladder, and she's like, no, don't get on that ladder. She's like, throw it away. And the dad's like, okay, I'll throw it away. And then she left the room and he didn't. He
didn't. And this was interesting to me because it is, well, we'll see. There's a scene afterwards with involving the ladder.
Yeah.
So then she goes to her brother, who's like a computer nerd. And, this is always the time travel trope, is where you find a friend and you're like, I'm here from the future. And at first they're like, what the hell? And then they sign on and believe you. So I love the fact he's like, tell me something from the future. And she tells him about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that convinced him. I think Ash, the name Ash, I think that was an homage to Ash from Evil Dead.
Oh, very possible.
Yeah.
Especially for this kind of character. I loved that, he knew that she wasn't lying. The fact that she knew how Game of Thrones ended and started to say it. And they never actually named Game of Thrones, but they hinted very heavily about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it was like an issue of, I wonder if they just legally couldn't say it.
I don't think so.
I think you can, because they're not using it in a way to steal copyright. They're simply referencing it as something from the world in which these people live. They reference Dungeons and Dragons. Right. They reference Legos.
True.
Yeah.
And
we don't know how Game of Thrones ended. The last two books haven't come out. See, I really like this Ash character. I've read all the books.
You did?
I have.
I've only watched the TV show.
And the Red Wedding, I remember I was reading the book. I didn't know the Red Wedding was coming, even though it had already happened on the TV show, but I had avoided TV spoilers. And then when I watched the show after that, the show, it's worse than the book.
Really?
Yeah, because in the books, the pregnant wife is not at the Red Wedding. In the books, I think she's still alive.
Oh.
But not in the TV show. Boy, that was the end of her.
Not on the TV show.
No, it was horrible. I was like, geez. Anyway.
Not on the TV show. And by
I
the way,
never
if you are I can't believe I'm blanking on the name, and I just said if you are a Game of Thrones watcher and you're going to be mad at us about spoilers, you're a little late.
I didn't really spoil it.
I don't think
the Red Wedding.
No, plus it was years ago.
Also, I've never seen the show, but broadly speaking, I've heard of the Red Wedding episode. Like, it's out there in the culture for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, because the Red Wedding that's a textbook study of how to fuck people up.
you know what's rough? Yeah, I know. We have to move on from Game of Thrones, but the real disappointing thing about the show, and they couldn't do this in the show, but like the Queen. So I'm giving spoilers. All right, so the Queen, like
Cersei?
Jon Snow's like stepmother, Queen. What was her name?
Latifah?
Oh, you mean his aunt?
Queen Latifah?
Daenerys Targaryen?
No, I gotta move on. I can't remember the names now. Anyway, the woman, she dies.
His mother. Yeah.
His mother.
Yes.
His mother, like his kind of stepmother, but it's like a stepmother because Jon Snow is a bastard. Yes. All right, it's a stepmother in the show. She dies.
This like when you guys talk about the festival, the Fringe Festival circuit, and I don't know any of the people you're talking about because I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Okay, but here's I'll get this over quickly. So she dies at the Red Wedding. So in the show, she's dead. In the books, she comes back to life. And she is alive as like this zombie creature. She's alive and she's like taking out her vengeance. But one of the reasons I think they didn't do it on the show is because they would have to keep the actress around, put her in this macabre makeup. You know, they just decided not to do that. And it's a big for those of us who've read the books and then saw the show. That's usually like the main criticism.
Well, I will not be reading that book.
Okay.
Same.
Oh man. All right.
Oh, anyway, so her brother was telling her that he had actually done studies about time nomads, and what she was going through was actually kind of a form of amnesia. And instead of losing your memory, you lose your time that you're...
Yeah, the way he described it is there's a time travel theory where people seem, with amnesia, you forget who you are. But there's a time travel theory where some people forgetting when they are.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting.
That
was a new take on it. I've never heard that take before.
Well, I guess that's what she was experiencing.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was legitimately an actual theory out there, but the way they described it and set it up, it made it sound like it probably is a legitimate time travel theory that scientists have actually studied in the real world.
I'd love to find out.
Oh, if I may just interject 1 second. The character I'm talking about is Catelyn Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue.
I would love to hit my head and get like time amnesia and like wake up in like the 80s or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But why isn't she... No, I get... She should be buying stock, like buy some Amazon stock.
Well, no, she gave him a tip.
Yeah.
Well, she
gave him a...
That was actually
a good tip.
By Netflix.
Is that now? Is that this? Oh yeah, this is actually a really, really lovely beat in this movie, where they're sort of wrapping up their talk about time travel, and then she's like, it's the next morning, and Ash is like, were you jerking me around yesterday, or like, do you really believe that you're in this other time? And they talk about that, and then he asks her like, hey, in the future, am I still, kind of like this? Basically meaning like, am I kind of like sad and lonely? And she's like, no, you and she lies to him. She's like, you're like, Dad's always talking about how confident you are, and you're a big developer of apps. And he's like, you mean there's games for your phone? She's like, oh, you don't even know where phones are going? Trust me. Stick with apps. Trust.
Yeah, I thought that was the best tip ever.
But it was just a really, really lovely scene between the two.
Yeah, that was nice. She also destroys his Lego thing that he worked on for 6 weeks in a basement by accident. But it looked like that it took 6 weeks to make that thing.
So then, meanwhile, she recruits her brother to go with her because Josh is protesting to save the library because the library is going to be sold to developers, like all buildings are in Hallmark, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So she dragged her brother along, and we find out that the reason why Josh is so adamant about protecting the library is because he went there with his mom, and his mom is dead.
I see dead people.
So they threw that one in too.
Yeah. They did. But I really did like the speeches about the library, how Ben Franklin started libraries, and Andrew Carnegie had started a bunch of libraries. I thought, I mean, they should knock it down. It is a piece of history.
So then they go to the protest. Josh and Maggie get arrested at the protest and taken to jail. Their dad bails them out, or Maggie's dad bails them out. I guess it was $50 a person. Yeah. So it was $100 to bail them out.
So there was a moment in this scene and also later in this movie that I love because these Hallmark movies, they call them romantic comedies, but there's rarely anything ever even remotely funny happening in them. And there is a very funny throwaway line of dialogue in this scene where everyone's basically making fun of, like, buttoned up, straight and narrow Maggie for getting arrested, and her the brother is like joking about being the parents' favorite, and the mom is like you are my favorite, Ash, like joking around, and the dad says something like, I've thought of my two kids, you'd be the one that wouldn't be spending time in front of a judge. And Maggie under her breath just goes, that's not going to age well.
Okay.
Because she becomes like this litigator in the future.
No, I know. Look, we lost Les Kirkendall Barrett. He's left the broadcast.
Well, he's just traveling in time. He's doing the podcast, but 15 years before now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, welcome back, Les.
Time traveling? Were you time traveling, Les?
I went back in time. I went back to 1984. The Olympics were happening here in Los Angeles.
Oh.
Did you go into the future? Do we ever do anything in the future? Do we ever do anything with our Instagram page?
Apps.
All right. Yeah. Look, I have to take some responsibility. So that's funny. And they also say, and then the mother says that the son is her favorite, and then the father said he'd rather have a dog.
Yeah.
But that's a little edgy.
Yeah.
Well,
because they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth.
It's an all new Hallmark.
Sure is.
So then Maggie. So then they have to go to like their, what would it be, an arraignment? You think?
Yeah. Oh, before that though, they're like eating like lunch or something in the backyard, and then like the Bryan Adams song "Heaven" comes on, and mom and dad get up and start dancing again. Like it was actually the Bryan Adams song.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're about ready to start porking.
Well, yeah.
Because they're like, they're like, get a room. He's like, I got a room. I got all of them. And I'm gonna.
So then they go to their.
Okay.
They go to their trial.
It's a preliminary hearing.
And Maggie acts as the lawyer. She's like, no, I've got this.
It should be pointed out that at this point in Maggie's life, she has not yet even gone to law school.
Right.
But court is jam-packed. But that's a TV thing. Everybody does it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about how unbelievably full this courtroom was for this tiny little proceeding.
Well, it's like 3 rows on each side, but there wasn't a seat empty.
Yeah.
It was like the OJ trial.
Right? Because they were at a protest. But
like,
she did a good job. She did a good job because case was dismissed.
Yeah.
Yep. She shocks the judge.
Yeah. And they get a temporary restraining order against the tearing down the building.
Yeah, she throws that in too. She goes, "Judge, will I have your attention?"
Yeah. Yeah, she did it.
And the judge loved the library. Like, she grew up with the library.
That's another Hallmark trope of the everyone talking about their love of reading.
Yeah.
Like that's a
good,
specific Hallmark thing because they really love to promote the idea of libraries in your community.
They do, because I'm on board with that.
I am too.
Hallmark likes libraries and pet adoptions.
Oh,
Where
well,
else?
I like that too.
Where
Pet
else?
adoption is a little harder.
Without libraries, where else are homeless people going to go and watch porn during the middle of the day?
Yeah.
Right?
Did I tell you that story?
No, but that's a thing that happens everywhere.
Okay, yeah, I guess we all have that story. I guess that's what's going on.
Wait, what was your story, Kurt?
I saw, there's not really much of a story. I just saw a homeless guy looking at porn in the New York library. And I was like, what's going on? But one time, but then I went to this party and I was talking to this girl about this. And I said, I can't believe I was in the library. This guy watching porn. And she made it like a civil liberties issue. She's like, well, he has every right to do that. And I said, well, what if like a little kid like walked by and saw that? Well, they obviously don't have control of their children. I was like, oh boy.
Kids are supposed to be in the library.
There was a person nearby who just changed the subject very quickly.
Kids are supposed to go to the library.
I would argue that your moral judgment on whether or not a kid should be allowed to see that is not relevant to whether or not he has the right to watch it.
Right.
Wait, you gotta walk me through that, or we don't have to. Am I right or wrong?
I don't think anyone's right. I mean, I think it's kind of crass to be watching porn, but that's my own personal opinion. It doesn't my personal opinion has nothing to do with whether or not something is legal.
Or, you know what? I think it's like watching porn in public. Porn is something that you should,
But again, we're making a judgment. Other people would disagree with us.
Well, I guess I was looking at it in terms. Yeah, I think that was just one example of why that might not be the appropriate thing to do in public.
Yeah,
like you don't want to go to a library with your kids thinking, "Oh, I'm getting my kids out and having them exposed to reading," and you walk by and see
they're getting exposed to something else.
You know. Right. I saw scissoring at the library. Oh, did you do arts and crafts, honey? Man.
Oh, so Rick calls Maggie a jailbird.
Mm-hmm.
And tells Maggie that his father has summoned her to the country.
Les froze up again. He's time traveling again. Les, come back.
Am I frozen?
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Already. You're back already.
You know, these time jumps during the podcast are frankly rude.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll hold off until after.
He freezes and then he like unfreezes and he's 5 years older.
Yeah, and he has all this new information about the world that we don't have.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there are hoverboards and flying cars.
Okay, thank you.
They're hoverboards. Okay. Great.
Oh, so then Rick's dad is a dick.
Yeah.
A total dick. And he is friends with the person who wants to use the library as a new development.
Yep.
But then Rick doesn't want to turn into his dad. So he's like, Maggie, please promise me that you won't let me turn into my dad.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was another very brave move. He says, I want to make enough money so I don't have to listen to his lectures again. Now, this never gets, that's where they leave this in the movie. That's it. They never have, there's no like makeup in the relationship. What we get out of this is he's successful in getting away from his parent. Have we ever seen that in one of these movies?
No, and talks
No.
about how he and Maggie, like they should they want to get out of the town. They know that their lives aren't really going to be there.
Nice.
I liked
And then
this
the
moment. I like this moment for Rick, but I feel like they don't pay it off later in the movie with this same character. I feel like he changes throughout the course of the movie.
Right.
Well, you see him in the beginning of the movie, if you want to like connect it with that, and he's successful. He's out, so you figure he's probably left his father.
Well,
in the
he's
dust.
successful and out in the future, but even through the timeline of this movie, he goes from, you know, trying to get Maggie to play along, go to dinner, all this stuff, to like kind of being annoyed that she's fighting this court case and basically trying to put a stop to it. Like he becomes more of a dick as the movie goes along. He isn't really a dick and then becomes one.
He's conflicted, I think.
Yeah.
So then this next scene between Maggie and her mother is what made me love this movie.
Oh, me too.
And this is something else that we have never seen on a Hallmark movie. Or even in a regular movie.
I know what you're going to talk about. I wrote in my notes, this is the most important monologue in a Hallmark movie ever.
Yeah.
Because Maggie's talking to her mom. She asks, you know, did you think that dad was the one? And the mom tells her, I don't believe that there's a one. And, you know, you could have more than one one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I have always felt. Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
She says
we all
that
do.
love does people the concept of one does people a disservice. Love is a choice on a continual basis. Oh,
Yes.
And
so
I was
good.
like, oh my God.
I wrote that down as well. No, it is, because if you go around saying like there's a one, you're going to be in for some disappointment, you know? I agree with this monologue, of course.
Because because this is how I feel, you know, like that. And I've been vilified by people before because they're like, what do you mean? You know, because I am married, and a lot of people are like, well, did you know that you were soulmates and he was the one? And I'm like, well, but no, I've had more than one.
And sometimes the one is the one for that time, that point in your life, that whatever you're going through. I just loved it because I have been in relationships or even just like dated people briefly where one or the other is putting so much pressure on like what their idea of what a relationship is supposed to look like is. And it's like, you create that together as you go along. Like nobody's got a handbook for that.
Right. And then have you noticed it's always your friends that like
Les is time traveling again.
Give you advice.
Wait, repeat that, Les. You cut up there. You said it's your friends who are doing
Again?
what? Yeah.
Oh, your friends who are like in the unsuccessful relationships are the ones that try to give you advice on how to have one.
Ugh.
Yep. Oh, okay. So then Maggie bumps into Ash. He's wearing cologne. He's all dressed up. He's going on a date with Nikki, and Maggie's like, oh shit, he cannot go on this date. And we find out that Nikki was the one who wrecked her brother's confidence because she dumped him in front of the whole school at a homecoming dance.
Darling Nikki.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So they decide that they want to talk. Maggie and Josh decide that they want to deal with the developers and go to the developers. And then they go to her old law office, and in walks Mal, her boss, but a younger version. And once again, she's like, you look great to Mal. And then, so they're trying. So this part I didn't get.
You look the same.
But the part that I didn't get was he was trying to get them to settle, and she was like, don't settle. Because, it's just...
What I didn't get about this was why would Josh be getting cash? He's just...
Exactly.
He's protesting.
Yeah, they were
Right,
trying.
that's the
They
part
were
that-
trying to pay him off, and basically, like an illegal way, which is basically saying they were giving him a stipend for his time for trying to save this institution.
Okay.
Oh, because I didn't get that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense.
This
Well,
is another
apparently-
scene where there was actual comedy that made me laugh out loud. This scene where, because he kept every time Mal would make an offer, he'd write it on a tiny piece of paper. You know, like in movies, they always have the courtroom scene and they just slide it across the table. Well, this is like a really long conference table, so he would get up and dramatically walk it down the table. The first time you're like, okay, Hallmark, that's silly. But then he did it a couple more times, and Josh kind of leaned in and said, what did she say? He said something, or she said something about like, why does he keep walking down the table? One of them's like, it's such a long table.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't explain it well. It was much funnier in execution than watching it.
But then they are like, thanks, but no thanks. And this is where he has his monologue about the libraries and how Andrew Carnegie felt that everybody should go to the library, and that's why he started building them. And so they're leaving, and then Mal asks Maggie to talk to her alone.
Mm.
And then she ends up telling him off. She ends up telling him off.
It was a great dressing down.
Yeah.
Yeah. She learned it from him.
Yeah, she basically is telling him, I know so much more about you and your client than you could possibly imagine, because I'm from the future and I know you in the future. And the worst thing you want as a lawyer is an opponent you don't know, and you don't know me.
Right.
Damn.
And I was like, look at her. She is a barracuda. Mm-hmm. But then they go back to court, and this time Maggie loses. And then Rick shows up, takes Maggie to dinner, and tells Maggie, listen, Maggie, you need to lay off because you're making things difficult for my dad. And then
He gets
Rick
one
proposes to her. Yeah.
publicly. We've always said that's a mistake.
Never do that. No. But he did.
Do we feel like this is a public no-no proposal? Because I think of that as like you're doing it deliberately in front of a crowd of strangers, whereas this was in a restaurant, but he wasn't doing it for the restaurant to see. He was doing it, and it just happened to be in a restaurant.
Well,
Versus like
Well-
on a Jumbotron, where you're putting them on the spot where everyone's going to hear your answer.
Well, we're also versus doing it in front of people who you know, so there's a difference there. It still isn't public, though. He's still going to be humiliated if she goes, no.
Or I have to think about it.
Or maybe she'll be
Yeah.
humiliated by being asked.
Yeah.
Right.
Or by
So-
being
so-
put on the spot at all.
There's two things to do. No, never mind. Okay. I'm back.
So then Maggie's telling everybody that she's engaged. Everybody's happy except for Josh. And then, how did she figure out he was laundering money in Brazil?
Rick said something about
He
made
Yeah.
it. Was it Rick or was it Josh that made the
Well,
crack about Brazil?
she's sitting with Josh at the library, and Josh says, he's saying, so where are you going to get married? You're going to go to Brazil? She goes, Brazil? Brazil. She remembers, and I don't know how she actually got that information, but apparently this Michael Williams, who's the developer, was doing some of his business in Brazil, and Brazil has some different laws. I don't know exactly how it all works.
Well,
Maybe I wrote it down.
but what they figured out is that they needed to get his briefcase from the country club.
Yep. There's a heist.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So they sneak So they go to the country club under the guise of applying for jobs.
By the way, this was very bold for a Hallmark movie.
A heist?
Yeah, like a whole set piece in a movie centered around them committing a crime. A series of crimes, really. Siri thinks I'm asking about crime. I don't want to know about crime, Siri.
Brazil has no reciprocation. That's what I wrote. It doesn't reciprocate.
Okay. Yeah. So like they dressed as employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They spied around. Maggie got yelled at by a Karen.
That lady was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Who, the Karen?
Yeah, she was perfectly cast. She did a good job.
Josh gets the briefcase from the locker. Maggie knows how to pick locks. Mm-hmm. So she picked the lock of the briefcase.
And they have like good fake Ocean's 11 music going through this whole scene.
Yeah. Yeah, because then he gets the papers. He has to photocopy them. He fucks up at the photocopy machine. Everything's almost going awry, but just in time, he gets the papers and gets the briefcase back into the locker right when Rick and his dad are showing up. And then meanwhile, Maggie also had to hide as Rick walked by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she calls an ambulance. She calls an ambulance because Rick, I think is Michael Williams actually hurts himself.
Yeah, Michael Williams was in a sand trap and like sprained his ankle, like trying to hit the ball out of the sand trap. Yeah. So they started walking off of the golf course right towards where Maggie was stationed, trying to keep a lookout of things. So they were going to spot her. So in order to throw everyone off, she goes over to an emergency phone and calls for an ambulance because claiming that Michael's having a heart attack.
And it's kind of funny that the clearly the people in the movie who are the extras who aren't allowed to have any lines, they won't get bumped up. Like Josh walks in the locker room. There's two guys in there. He just says, "Well, you want to go to the steam room?" And they just silently walk out like Frankenstein.
They had a couple of extra. The extras clearly went to the park ranger school. There were a few of those scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
but they got a bump up for that, right?
No, they do not.
No dialogue.
Featured extra. You don't get.
In fact, there was a scene when Josh goes in to use that fax machine to make copies. The woman that is sitting at the desk that he speaks to, if you notice, you never see her face on camera. It is the back of her head. I am convinced that her line of dialogue was dubbed in looping after the fact. It wasn't that actress.
Because I was thinking that, because I was like, how pissed would you be if you told your family, I'm going to be in this movie, watch this movie, and they didn't show your face, they just showed the back of your head. I
bet originally it was going to be, they thought it was going to be edited, so they didn't hire an actor. It was just, hire a speaking part actor. They just had an extra there. And then after the fact, when they're watching it, they're like, it's weird that he's sort of talking and she doesn't respond, so they threw in a line of dialogue.
I wonder what the union rules are on that. That's kind of unusual.
Well, no, that would whoever you know what a loop group is.
Yeah,
that would be what the loop group covers and stuff like that. So somebody's getting paid for it, just not the person whose body was on camera because they weren't hired
not the
to
person
speak.
On camera. Yeah.
Okay. So they get the paperwork right. And so then they all go back to Maggie's house, and then they have all their friends over to help them with the protest.
I hope Rick doesn't stop by.
Rubin?
That's right, Rick Rubin. He's producing Johnny Cash's "Hurt" at the time.
Oh, yeah.
That song is depressing.
Oh no, "Hurt" was about 10 years before this scene was taking place.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so he already did it.
Yeah.
So then I love this part too because Maggie, when Maggie was getting the girl to hack, but she was saying, okay, so I'm not telling you to hack into their business, but I'm not telling you to go down to the basement where there's better Wi-Fi.
And where my brother knows a lot about computers too.
Now, I'm not telling you to blow my brother while he's down there, but it would just make my life easier.
She did pimp this girl out, because then she
did
noticed
pimp her.
that the girl was like, oh, she's into computers and she's cute and kind of dorky. She's wearing this like alien t-shirt, and she comments on
Yeah.
her shirt. She's like, oh, that's really cute. I think my brother will like it too.
Yeah. Oh, she pushed her in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. She's not coming back up for a while.
So then,
She's gonna-
well, apparently
she's gonna be-
Well, apparently she didn't. We find out
She's going to be trapped down there in a pit like that poor girl in Silence of the Lambs. Okay.
I just thought of a
moving right
really
along.
disgusting Dungeons and Dragons euphemism that I will not repeat.
Have you guys? I know. Oh, there's no way. All right, here's my guess. All right, Les, you never played Dungeons and Dragons, but I think Jason has.
No, never have.
No,
No,
Never
I'm
done?
not
Okay.
into like fantasy stuff. Like fantasy films. They bore me to tears. I can't watch them.
Yeah. Okay. What happened? Les? Did you
haven't.
play it? No, you haven't done it. Okay.
No. Unless there's like slapping and champagne throwing, I'm not in.
Oh, I did. Clapping. I briefly played it, but then that was it.
Now, what? It was like a whole commitment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like somebody invited me into like this group, Dungeons and Dragons group, and I wasn't. It's like a lot of storytelling and stuff, and it's very complicated. And I was a character, and my character really wasn't ended up not really doing anything. I was like, oh, this is kind of.
So you would just have to sit there and your character would do nothing?
Yeah, kind of. And then like there's like a dungeon master telling the story, and people really get into it. I didn't have a lot of interest in it. I went maybe 3 times. Like, oh, that's enough.
And then I remember the parents were like up in arms, like, oh my gosh, Dungeons and Dragons is bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's bad. Those are the same people who say Harry Potter is bad or witchcraft. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Harry Potter was a
People.
good book.
I have a theory as to why parents dislike that. And this is
Why?
let me preface that I am an atheist. I've mentioned it here on the show, but I think the parents that are scared of that are scared that people will believe in something other than the Bible. They'll find something else magical, that is the way I see it, other than the Bible to believe in.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well-
that's kind of like they don't want you to see what else is out there. Also, sometimes.
I bet those parents are very upset with Days of Our Lives because Marlena's possessed by the devil.
Those parents are all
Yeah, we
watching
talked about
Marlena
that, and
Days,
we
yeah.
talked about how the devil needs to, delegate other demons.
Well,
To do the
the devil's on Days of Our Lives, and he talks to her through her therapist tape recorder.
Speak of the devil. Really?
And he encouraged her to tell Ben to go and get Sierra pregnant because that baby had work to do.
The
So
devil's really invested in these people.
yeah, it's very busy in Salem.
Devil gets bored. The devil's really into minutia, huh?
Yeah.
Very busy.
No broad strokes there. Oh man.
So they go to court, and Maggie and Josh provide the paperwork that is needed to show like all the money laundering and stuff. Mal accuses them of stealing, but Maggie was like, okay, deny, and just if you're accused, just be incredulous about it and deny. And so then the judge was like, well, how do you know your paperwork is stolen? And Mal was like, because it's wrinkled. The paper is wrinkled.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
And so the judge was like, really? You're going to waste my time for this? And then the judge voted in favor of Maggie and Josh. And so the library was saved. Yay! They got a permanent injunction.
Hooray.
And so,
Now,
but Mal was so in awe of Maggie's skills that he was like, you know what? If you ever need a recommendation for law school, I will give you a recommendation and I will have a job for you.
And he said she has to prove that she can swim with the sharks. She said, I just did.
And actually, he didn't offer a job. He offered a recommendation for law school.
Yeah. Which, I mean, see, I would think of like revenge or something like, you know, is he really going to give me a good recommendation for law school, or is he going to fuck me over?
That's a good question. I would say in most Hallmark movies, you would never suspect that somebody would fuck you over. But this particular movie, it's totally possible. It's a whole new world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I was very struck by this next scene. To the point I was having a conversation with somebody and I referenced this scene because I thought this was...
Well, tell us.
Wow.
Well, they take the old rickety ladder that the dad eventually falls flat on his ass and cripples himself. So they take the ladder and they run it over. She gets Josh. Maggie gets Josh to run it over 3 times. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's a brave thing to see, because I know from personal experience, myself being somebody who does care for my parents, who and sometimes it's difficult to be the child. Sometimes it's difficult to be the parent to the parent.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it's a strong thing to show, like it's a grown child really taking control of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this really this scene struck me very, and I think it's a good, because then, you know, there's an aftermath to this. The father might not be happy about that. It might not be happy that they took that power, they destroyed his ladder. He still wants his ladder, but they know better than him. She knows that he shouldn't be using a rickety ladder because you're going to fall on your ass, and that's going to make everybody's life difficult.
Yeah. And in this particular moment, she's the one that actually knows it for sure, versus like, it's pretty obvious that you might fall off this thing because it's broken. You know, she knows that it actually is broken and is going to hurt him physically. So she wants to like cut that off at the pass, since she has the opportunity to do it.
Right. And she does. They smash that ladder.
Yeah. So, to some like rock music. It was a really badass moment in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was kind of getting emotional. I thought it was such a strong choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because she was like, "That's the chance I'm willing to take, him being pissed off, because I know it's going to save his life, so I'm doing it."
And it's a nice payoff for anyone that was in favor of demolishing the library. At least they got to see something get demolished.
Right.
They saw something get smashed.
Yeah.
So then Maggie wakes up again, you know, and so she's going to her parents' 25th anniversary party. Oh, we forgot to mention, Josh went on a date. Carrie was interested in Josh, and so Josh was kind of dating Carrie.
Yeah, but just sort of in the background. We never even really saw them together. But they mentioned it earlier in the movie.
Yeah. It looked like they went out once.
But then, you know, Maggie was engaged to Rick anyway. So it wasn't like, you know, Carrie was overstepping.
And Carrie did ask Maggie about it. Maggie's saying, no, like, you know, because Maggie was sort of torn at that when she asked her in that point in the movie. She's like, yeah, go for it. He's single and you're single. Go, yeah, do it. But Josh ends things with Carrie, we find out, because he's in love with someone else.
Ooh. Right.
Yeah, I wonder who.
And Carrie was kind of like, she could care less. Like, she's kind of like, oh, well, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that woman has options. I don't think she cares.
Yes.
I don't think she thinks that's the end of the road.
No, she has several options.
Sure does.
So then Maggie dumps Rick. And
she said, the idea of you is wrapped up in what I thought I wanted to be. Is that what she said?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Anyway, it was a good, you know what? It was more of a reasonable, realistic breakup than the stupid breakups they usually have in these Hallmark movies where everybody is like so happy. Oh yeah, it's wonderful. this was a little more messy.
Yeah.
Right. So then the breakup is done. Everyone's dancing. She sees Josh across the room. She goes to go over to him, and she bumps into a waiter. And
before she bumps into the waiter, as she's walking over there, she shouts to Josh, "I don't want a do-over," which is a callback to earlier in the movie when she hit her head on the fountain and she asked for a do-over.
Right. And so then she bumps into a waiter. He spills his drinks. She slips and falls, hits her head.
Mm-hmm.
Last time traveled again.
He's time traveled again.
He's time traveling at the most opportune moments. Oh, okay. You were time traveling in the most opportune moment in the movie, where we find out that Maggie is now in a present day timeline, waking up on the dance floor of her parents' 40th anniversary party.
And everybody's there.
They're doing well.
The dad's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He can dance.
Carrie's there. Josh is there. Her brother is there with the girl who she sent down to hack the computer.
He's getting
the
laid.
The girl is pregnant. Yeah,
that's
good. Yeah.
And we find out they live in Palo Alto, which is a hint to the fact that he's probably a big, famous app developer now.
Nice.
Right. And he's very confident. I did think the brother was very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so then she's, her mom is like, you should go home because you hit your head. And
they were going to give her a ride home.
And then they were like, well, no. And the mom's like, wait, so it is only 10 blocks away. And so they start walking.
Well, before that too, I love this moment too, where when she sees Ash and the now wife with the baby on the way, she goes, "Ash, I'm back." He's saying, she's like, "No, I'm back," and like he gets this look in his eye, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, hadn't thought about that in 15 years." Okay,
right?
Yeah,
right.
He was good.
Yeah.
That actor was good who played Ash.
And so then her and Josh are walking home, and they see the library. And she's like, "Oh, well, it's so good that the library is still here." And we find out it's not the library, it's her office. So she preserved the building and she works for the building
as a social justice center.
Yeah. So she's like, it's her social justice office.
Okay.
And that was the end.
Well, I thought it would have been kind of funny if then in the final shot, a wrecking ball hits the library.
Oh, that's funny.
Or Doc shows up in the car and goes, "It's your grandkids. Get in the car."
Yeah. I did think that there was a bit, and it may have just been inadvertent because this is what, small town old libraries look like. I did think that there was a nice similarity in the look of the library to the look of the building in the town square and Back to the Future with the clock.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Didn't that burn down or something? Didn't that the set?
There was a big fire on the Universal Studios lot where the clock tower building is, and doesn't actually have a clock on it. There was a fire there probably about 15 years ago, ironically. A fairly big fire. It actually got some of their film vaults. So there's classic King Kong films and stuff were lost. I don't know if it got to that building, it didn't totally burn it down. It may have only been minor damage to that building because it is still there.
Right.
I don't know. They lost actual films. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Universal had a lot of monster movies back in the day too.
Yeah, I lived about 2 or 3 blocks from Universal when that fire happened. It was, and because it was, what's film made of? Celluloid. Yeah, because of that, the smoke was really black in my area for a couple of days. It was bad.
Wow. Well, if you want to get a hold of me,
You never said if you loved this movie. You started to at the beginning, but you never really told us. Okay.
Oh no, I loved it. I love this. No,
it.
I'm telling you, this movie, Hallmark. Out of all the Hallmark movies, it's tied with this Shopaholics Christmas as my favorite.
Okay.
Yes. The only thing that was missing from this movie, if it would have had a makeover, it would have been a 100%.
Couldn't it be argued that the entire movie was a makeover of her life?
Of course.
Okay.
But there was no montage.
True.
That's not what this is. I'm glad they didn't have one, though. There's no room for a makeover. Who's going to have a makeover? Ash?
Anybody, or the brother.
Yeah.
You know, the brother could have easily had one. The brother was cute, though.
Mm-hmm.
The cheerleader could have taken him out shopping, and there could have been a whole, outfit montage. Yeah, I would have loved that. No, I would not have.
Well, anyway, Kurt.
Well, it's good. It's good. Hey, it's a monumental episode.
Right. We liked it. Everybody. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me at my website, leskirkendallbarrett.com, or you can check it out. We have a Facebook page now, right?
We've always had a Facebook page. I've just done some updates to it so that our podcast now posts directly to the Facebook platform and will show up in your news feed as a video to listen to whenever you want.
Oh, cool. I want to see it.
And chime in, too. Chime in. Feel free.
Yeah.
Jason.
Oh, okay. So please leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. Unless you're on Facebook, then feel free to go and comment. We are Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast there. And on Instagram, we are Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
You can go to kurtfitzpatrick.com. That's Kurt with a K. And you can contact me there. You can write me and let me know what you think. That's it.
There you go.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Drop Kurt a line.
Drop me a line. Tell me what's up. Tell me if you agree with opinions.
Drop us a line from the future and tell us what people think of this episode in the future.
Yes, please do. Please do. Anyway, until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.